thinking of Marcus. So, step one in starting a business, and basically any ways to come up with ideas for businesses. So business ideas.
See, I don't even get to part 2 of this question.
Okay.
For me, this is, I mean, there are things you can do. I think that's where Steve would come in. But step 1 in starting a business is to follow your passions, period. That's how we even got this going. I know I was in a funk of sorts when I met Steve through our work and project, and the information and the life hacks, and I was like, dude, we gotta do something.
Well, there's different perspectives. It's like, you know, you can hear about exactly. You can hear the different. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But, you know, passions in general. Like if you follow what you believe in, what you love, and it works out. It's not work, right?
And you don't get burned out at that point.
You figure out ways to quote unquote create a business, or I just think it happens. It's like organic versus GMOs. And I've known tons of people in my life throughout business who, you know, they're like, you know, the bionome is hot right now. We got to start a business around this or this internet thing or this is the new, you know. And it's like they're always trying to get into the hot. And if you would just, you know, do what feels right and is organic versus trying to genetically always modify it, create it, get ahead of the curve, it works out. Every time I ever try to think about life in general, the more you try to force things versus go with the flow, man, and do what feels right. But we try to do that in our relationship. Everything's like it's got to be this way or that way. It never works out. But Idea Machine, you just put out a book on this.
Everything's a river. Yeah, to come up with business ideas. Well, for business ideas specifically, like I said, there's like passive and active strategies to do that. So like an active strategy to come up with a business idea would be to think about a problem that you have that can be solved. So solving any problem that you notice in your daily life. That's an easy way to come up with a business idea, and it's more the active approach, like do this now. And then there's the passive approach where you just have this awareness. So everything starts with awareness. You just need to be aware of everything you're thinking, of all of your ideas, and then act upon that awareness.
Can I back up on the first point? Because I, like you, when I was even younger than you, though, I read every book, and Earl Nightingale was one of my favorites early on, and he used to say, but the mother of all invention is constructive discontent. Mm-hmm. So like when you're pissed off, it's just like, there's got to be a better way than this. Right. And that's what Silicon Valley epitomizes these days, is right. It's like it's a pain in the ass to get a taxi in New York City. Fucking somebody creates Uber. Yeah. They're like, these hotels are screwing me because they're overpriced. Airbnb. It's like, but it's the mother of innovation when you're annoyed with stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, why can't there be better training than like what I'm getting? And this person goes out and creates CrossFit. But that was the way I've always said this. It is the mother of innovation. It's like when you have kids, most parents can attest, like, get ideas all the time. It's like, why isn't this easier than this?
Good point, yeah.
And then with coming up with ideas, I wrote 11 Steps to Become an Idea Machine like a week and a half ago. So the main point from that is writing things down. Because everyone comes up with ideas, but who writes them down and actually builds upon them? So most people just come up with them and then gone. And the other one is keeping an open mind. Because if you have an open mind, you're open to infinite possibility and you're not limiting yourself to anything.
And pivoting, which is the key to good entrepreneurs in this day because things change so fast.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean,
you'll be more dynamic and flow with where everything's
going. It's an overused word, but so often the road is better than the end, and it's like things never end up where you think when you first start a business. Like you think, oh, it's going to be like this. No. But if you're willing to pivot and adjust and adapt, you obviously end up in a good place typically. More than if you're trying to just stick to your one plan.
Very good.
That's basically all I got for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much. I think what I was thinking was more along the lines of what Mark was talking about it's almost, necessity is the mother of invention, that sort of thing, in the sense that when you get annoyed with something, which happens to me all the damn time. I was just talking to Marcus today, for example.
It's annoying in itself.
No, but talking about, for just as an example, widgets on Android. We were talking about it, and I was saying, if there's such a huge opportunity to have very functional widgets for Android, but there's not even a really good news one, which is like the most basic. I mean, there's a decent weather one, but there's just so much opportunity to have like information at your fingertips that's actually useful and people want to read, and it's not a waste of their time to be flipping through it, for example.
News is always a waste of time.
One perspective. One perspective. But yeah, I mean, I guess the point is, like, when you get annoyed with something, like, this should be able to be better, that's when you start thinking about business ideas. And I think that's, for me at least, whenever I've come up with ideas, that seems to be where they come from, is when I'm getting annoyed with something.
Follow your annoyance.
Yeah.
Right.
John Boy?
Well, I think it's definitely important to be a dreamer, but so many people get caught up in the whole dreaming of a bigger, better life, and they don't really have they lack the courage to take a step and get out of that comfort zone.
Well, also
So I think just getting out of your own way is really a huge part of it, because you could have all these great ideas just floating around in your head, but at the end of the day, if you're like, I can't do this, I can't make this happen, I don't have this, I'm not that.
Yeah, fear.
It's
Fear of failure. Yeah.
It's just
Or fear of
happen.
success. Because if
Ooh.
you're around like people that don't do anything, you have a fear of success. Like, oh, I won't have my group of friends if I'm successful. I won't be like them, and they'll be jealous of me. And what will I do? Like, that's a reality for
And
a lot of
I
people.
think even just to go off of what you said, with the friends is tearing yourself away from the people who are dragging you down. So many people get caught up in the past and me and so go way back and this and that, but really if they're not actively helping you better, or not even actively, if you're not a better person for being around them, or they can't even understand what you're trying to accomplish, and at least give you understand and accept you for who you're becoming or whatever, you don't need that. And it's just one of those things that you got to get out of your own way before you can even really worry about moving on to the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.